You're welcome. All right, everybody. Welcome to the special pre-recorded Miniature Monday here. It'll be much shorter since we're not going to be doing any chat interacting, even though top of the stream, Tia Andre Cat, what's up Chewy, what's up Trash, what's up Tiamat, what's up everybody else that's usually in the chat, Anki, who else is always here, what's up Peter, what's up inevitably Jacob will probably show up, what's up Zambies, what's up Holly Monster, what's up anybody else that's in the chat that I'm forgetting, World Edit's usually there. If I'm forgetting, it's did I say what's up Road to Tiamat? I'm trying to just think who else is usually there like immediately. Sharky, obviously, sorry Sharky. Graz, if Graz is in the chat. I don't know, I think that's it. But anyway, Justin is here, pantsless as usual. He actually is sitting behind me to make sure I don't mess up. But we're not too concerned today. We are painting up the hero. There she is, looking all awesome. Really nothing too dramatic about this paint job. Similar to the knight that we worked on. Really the only trick here is doing the armor and the cloth. So pretty much the same. We already know how that goes. But get the new palette on the sponge here. I'm recording this pretty early in the day, actually way later than I was expecting. I was hoping to be on the road, headed out of town right now, but my dad was going to come over to help me change a tire this morning, and we found out that when I blew my tire in Dallas before we moved up here, the person that helped me change my tire, which obviously was a very nice thing to do, they literally stripped one of the nut on the tire. So we got, we realized we aren't going to be able to change the tire, and then we had to put it back up onto the car. It took like 2 hours to get even half of that done. So a pretty behind schedule. You know what? Hold on. So over the weekend, I had a really fun time. I'm sure you guys saw, but I'll go ahead and show it here as well. I did finish up on Patreon. We did the dumpster. So here it is right here. Painted this up for Patreon. This was like our advanced level class. So this photo was taken in the dark, and I essentially drilled a hole, probably the size of a base, like a 1-inch hole in the bottom of the dumpster miniature, and put a flashlight in it, and this was the result. So that was pretty cool. I used the firewall miniature for that, and then I'll switch this image over to just like how it looks regularly. So you can see right here, right, how we painted it up. Looks pretty sweet. A lot of really good weathering. You can see right there. A lot of people were asking too, like how I got that yellow to be so, or the green to be so bright. And the answer is everything's just way dark. So what you're seeing is honed steel. So if you know how bright honed steel is on all of the edge work, then you kind of know how dark everything else is. So the green is a mixture of 2 parts jungle moss right here, 1 part leaf green. So it's you can see it right there. So it's a very, very dark color. And then we did dark skin mixed with rust brown to do the brown color, and then a lot of noir black glazing for the grime. So, but I was definitely very pleased with how it turned out. I just love it. You know, like that green color is just super bright. It is moth green. So if you haven't ever used moth green before, it's just a crazy, crazy bright color. You can see it right here. I mean, it's literally like luminescent. It's crazy. But so we had a lot of fun painting that. And then really the only other stuff that I've worked on this week, did private lesson stuff. We were painting up miniatures from Predator, so that's kind of cool. That was fun. I totally nuked the rainbow sword on this guy, so for those of you that were watching previously, it's dead. And then we just sort of fleshed out the actual armor. And the King of Hell project, of course, from Patreon. A lot of you guys have seen this, but we went and added tons of purple into the shadows on this, so very, very pleased with how that's turning out. We have 1 to 2 sessions left on the project. This is 11 weeks worth, or 11 hours worth, quote unquote, but we do an hour a week. So we have probably 2 hours left, 1 hour, 2 hours left doing the hand and the blade, and then any other cleanup work. So definitely very excited about that. And then remember as well, there are still 4 slots left for the Hobby at Home stuff. You can go to minipainting.studio/hobbyathome to see that. So here are the nice package, or the nice box, whatever. I'm still waiting for another one to show up for the smaller boxes. But so when you purchase it, this is what you can expect. You know, you've got your nice heavy duty box here, and then you open it up. You've got all of your goodies. So here is the card number for the Headstone Horror class, difficulty 4, 7 of 10, and then all of your stickers. So that's fun. And then inside, boom, is the partially painted miniature that you will be working from. So you can see that here. And then, of course, and that's what I'll be working on as well. And then this is the final paint job that you can expect. So definitely excited. I know everybody that has purchased and signed up for the class so far is super excited about it as well. So I can't wait to make that happen. And that'll be happening middle of September. I think it's the 13th is when that class actually will take place. So remember, if you are interested, you can go to minipainting.studio/hobbyathome, and you will be able to get all that information. So, but that's really the only updates for me. Remember as well, we have the ReaperCon class happening, so that'll be Saturday, September 5th, from 1 to 5 p.m. CST, so it'll be a 4-ish hour class. It may be a little bit longer than that, I'm not sure, but that'll be multicast through Twitch, Facebook, YouTube, everywhere. It'll be recorded. It'll be available afterwards as well. I know nothing else other than anything that's on the Twitch channel is available. And some people were complaining about that, so that was one of the reasons why I wanted to do my own thing, so that way it would be available for everybody later. And definitely check that out. I'll be using the Vex airbrush. I've been using the Vex a ton. A lot of the stuff that you have seen me work on recently is using the new Reaper Vex airbrush, so that's definitely exciting. And then, of course, Monday at 3 p.m., so the next Miniature Monday, we'll be doing the ReaperCon Sophie, so that's definitely very exciting. Now then, all of that out of the way, we can go ahead and get started. I'm going to just take our aged pewter here, give it a nice spinny spin spin, and we're just going to base coat all of her armor. Shocker, I know. But we'll do the armor and the shield. I didn't do any alternate bits of her armor in gold. I just did pretty much everything pure aged pewter. Now then, this time around, I will probably shade things a bit differently, kind of like we did on the Crusader guy. But let me fix my focal length here for you. There we go. Zoop, zoop. Nice. And I just have that 1-to-1 ratio of paint to water. So that way it's nice and thin, and I don't get any sort of problems with my consistency. And then I am just coating everything, like around or on top of these colors. So bags, belts, whatever, we'll go back in and fix later. Really not much of a worry for me. But the aged pewter, of course, is such a good color. We worked with it last time. Let's see. All right, I'm just seeing what parts of the mace were silver and what parts were gold. Definitely excited to get started on the ReaperCon kit, though. I know a lot of people are ready for that. The Pirate Sophie's cool, obviously, for those of you that are excited to paint up your Sophie. And, I mean, you can even do 2, I guess, right? Like if you bought a swag bag or any of the stuff that comes with the Sophie, you can obviously paint that one up. And then paint the one that we're painting in 2 alternate styles. So that'd be cool. But I'm looking forward to that, but everybody knows I am the most excited about the Big Fish Man. So, I think I have that right here. Are we wrong? We're wrong. Are we right? We're right. There it is right there. You guys can check that. Boom. Goodbye. The shield itself, you can see I'm just doing the back and forth motion here to make sure it's even, nice and smooth. Just like that. That prevents any streaking. At least, it provides minimal streaking, either way. I was trying to illustrate that a lot in the Patreon this weekend because we were hand brushing the dumpster, and so obviously if you had an airbrush, you know, we could have done that in literally 2 seconds and not thought about it twice. But when it comes to the Patreon stuff, I always try and avoid anything that's a barrier of entry for classes. So, you know, I very, very rarely use an airbrush for anything. And if I do, it's usually like a little finishing step, adding shadow or something like that. But, you know, one of the things that a lot of people struggle with is applying paint that looks good and smooth on a flat surface because they're always afraid, right, that it's going to look streaky and they won't get good coverage, or it won't look streaky, it'll look textured because you used too much paint. So that's always kind of a common thread with a lot of painters, and so I was really happy that we could do that over the weekend as well. But I would show you the dumpster, but it's in Sydney's room. Alright, so I'm happy with our base coats here. And we'll go ahead and let this stuff dry. It's already pretty dry. And I'm going to grab our antique gold. I replaced my palette this weekend of the 30 colors or whatever, so I have like brand new paints. Even though most of them were clogged, as I found out doing the Patreon lesson this weekend. Every single paint, there was like 30 new ones, and all of them but a couple were clogged at the tip. I was kind of like, who sabotaged my paint? Oh, there you go, see? Literally, this is I've never touched this bottle. And this is why I'm a cap tapper. I also don't know where my pokey tool is, so that would be my excusable issue there. But yeah, it's like the majority of them. I don't know, maybe if it was just how I had them stored, right? Like if the box was upside down or something. But okay, so I'm gonna grab a little bit of water. Not a lot though. Antique gold really doesn't work thinned that well compared to some of the metallics. Or new gold. Really, new gold's the only one that I know that can work relatively well. Okay, so we're gonna do, let's see, I do the entire, yeah, so I did the entire little incense burner here. What do they call those? Censures, I think. And then we'll do top of the sword there, the bottom, or not sword, sorry, dagger. We'll do her lantern as well. We're not really gonna do OSL because we're not painting the miniature dark. But we will do, you know, a lighting effect on the inside. One thing I was having fun with with the Vex, and it's one thing I've commented on a couple times, is that you actually can get very, very accurate with it from a distance, which is a notable difference from my Iwata. Definitely a noticeable difference from a Patriot and my Sotar as well. The Sotar is great up close. But it isn't as accurate from a distance. And from a distance, I mean like brush length, so maybe like 6 to 8 inches away, which I find very fascinating. Now that it's not super tiny, I would say like from about 8 inches, you can get a spray pattern that is like this wide, right? I mean, it's really cool. It's not super, super thin, but it isn't big enough to really be an issue. You can still do a lot of detail work. But because I was looking at this little interior portion, I was like, well, I could Could try and airbrush that, but... So now, the other thing that we're going to do, I'm going to put in our intense brown. Mostly because we're going to use the same wash on the rest of the miniature. Now then, let me look for intense brown. It should be out here. It should be out here somewhere. Where have you gone? Oh, right here. It just needs to be super spun. Oh, did I guys show you the phthalo green teeth on this? What do you think about this teeth? Oop, sorry, we got the wobble going. So yeah, I've been working on this. I used the Vex to do like 5% tint on this guy. But what's funny is like these teeth are phthalo green plus white in various stages. And then clear blue glaze towards the bottom portion. So definitely excited to keep working on that guy. Right now, the only two projects I'm working on streams are that and then the Robo Samurai guy. So definitely having a blast. So now then we'll take this. Let me move this little sculpting tool out of the way. Take our intense brown, get it out on the palette. Look, it's not clogged. It's a miracle, Jim. Just need a little bit. To answer your question, Sharky, yes, I do think you should see a doctor. I mean, foot fungus can be a serious thing, especially if when you walk you see clouds. I mean, Justin, has mentioned before he has the same issue, and I think he uses a mixture of mayonnaise and Tabasco. So if you want to ask him specifically his routine to get rid of foot fungus, I think that's definitely important. Or if I'm not mistaken, you can ask Trash as well. Not because he has the issue, but because he's given the issue to other people. I don't know. You guys can sort that out in the chat. But so I'm just going through and I'm doing all of our belts and our bags, our typical brown work here. I forgot to paint the little owl thing that's on her shoulder. What else am I missing? That's pretty much it. She really only has those like 3 belt bags. 3 belt bags. Cool. I'll grab the gold here and we'll slop it on the owl. Okay, now we're gonna get some Noir Black. I had to check the time because I realized I should probably slow down. This miniature will be done in 30 minutes total. So I should probably, if you're trying to keep up with me at home, I'll chill out a little bit. Okay. Typically, the first time I paint a miniature, it takes me like maybe an hour and a half, and then actual paint time on stream is always a little bit less. And then obviously I talk to you guys. And then anything beyond that, so like if I'm not talking to people or trying to engage or whatever, less. So like this paint job specifically could maybe take me 30 minutes, 45 minutes. So now I'm going to take our wash. And just apply it all over. You guys know the drill. Oh, a lot of people have asked, I don't know why I thought about this because somebody sent me a message. People had asked if there's a way specifically to sign up for my class. There's no, like, reason you need to. If you know where to find me online, you'll be able to find it whenever it's live. But if you want a reminder, currently we have like 70 people signed up on the Facebook event. So all you have to do, I think if you just type in Advanced Display Painting A to Z, like A-Z, it'll pop up. But if you go to Mini Painting Studio and you click on events on the left-hand side, you will see that. So I know some people just want the reminder. I know I'm excited for it, only because I'm excited just to finally paint the miniature I'm going to be working on. It's a heavily converted mini. When people figure out what I used originally, they're usually like, wow, how did you Did you bend the whole thing? And the answer is yes. I like cut, twisted, resculpted the arm. I did a lot of work on it, so I think we're going to have some fun. So I'm just pulling this down towards the bottom. This is similar to the shield on the Duke, right? Like really I'm trying to just separate out the color to sort of delineate the two different sides that we've got going on. And that's that. So I'm going to let this sort of dry on its own, and we'll see what it looks like as it begins to dry. So what I'm going to do now, I'm going to take we already have intense brown. I'm going to take this blonde hair, and we're going to mix this to make like an ivory color for her robes. I don't think that's what we did last time. Last time we just made like a light color and then washed it down. And I think we can switch it up. Let's switch it up this time. So I'm going to take the blonde hair and just a little bit of our intense brown. Mix it over here. Brush tip of the intense brown. And could be better. There you go. So 2 blops of the blonde, 1 of the intense brown. And this will be our base coat for the cloth. Now then we will wash it down like we did on the other guy by using our skin tone. Or flesh wash, whatever. Now, this miniature had some pretty intense flash. I don't know if Reaper John's in the chat, but if yours had a similar issue, specifically in between this fold and that fold right there, I mean, it was pretty bad. I did more work than I was expecting. If yours had a similar issue, now the first time I painted this mini, I didn't have that problem. So I don't know if it's just kind of a mixed bag of when they were cast or whatever, but if anyone else in the chat is agreeing that they had some crazy flash, maybe somebody shoot an email over to help at Reaper Mini so that they can look at the mold, because obviously they like everything that's cast someone looks at, and that's kind of a part of the process. But because of the placement, I don't know if it's extremely obvious until a miniature is primed or being cleaned, if that makes sense. Because it's just such in a strange area that unless you're really knowing where to look, but it was like totally full of flash. So if I was just unlucky, then whatever, no big deal. But if multiple people in the chat are agreeing for whatever reason, then I would say, hey, just let them know, and they can check out the miniature. They can make sure, you know, it doesn't need to be remastered or remolded, I should say. But yeah, like this whole portion I had to take. That's actually why I had this out, because I couldn't dig the flash out, so I had to shove it and like try and just smash it to make it disappear. But I think I did okay. I mean, let's see. Yeah, you can kind of still see it, but it was pretty intense, just right in between that fold. Nowhere else though. Rest of the mini, totally fine. Totally cool, clean. Just a little bit of the undercut there in between the road made it a bit mercy. A bit mercy. But there have been a few times before, I mean years ago, like there was some mini where it was like an obscure chronoscope mini metal, and when I got it, it was like a very weird part of the mini underneath was totally full of flash. Like you would only really know if you were buying it to paint it. And so I sent an email, and the reply was, yes, thank you, and they sent me a new one. After I'd already painted the first one. I think I've told that story before. But I didn't really care. It was like, I didn't expect him to do that, right? I was just kind of like, oh, okay, cool. But, I don't, you know, they don't necessarily know. Everybody here knows too, right? Like, you clean up a miniature as much as you want, or like, you can clean up a mini as much as you want, and you think you've done a good job, but until you get like primer on it, or you start painting it, that's when you realize like, oops, there's this thing here, you know. So some are easier than others to see whether or not there may be an issue. But I'm relatively pleased here. I'm just going to let this application dry, and then I'll go back one more time for a nice even cote. And I think I did her skin more brown. Yes, I did. So, you know what? Let's take this color and go ahead and coat her hands. The edge of my brush is looking crazy right now. There we go. Coat that hand. Because we'll be able to tint this. You know, that's kind of the funny difference, right? We're using the skin wash not on skin, and then we're using it tints brown for the skin wash. So it's kind of counterintuitive. You go ahead and do her wonderfully sculpted face. This face is actually pretty good. Now, the eyes would probably give you some trouble if you were trying to get them done. But everything else, structure-wise, is real easy, paint-friendly. Which is nice. I always appreciate a mini with nice cheekbones. Makes our little face method easy peasy. Boom. And then what did I do for the hair? That's what I did for the hair. I can go ahead and do the hair base coat as well. So I'm going to take some of the red Neon Glow. Actually, I have a better recipe for this, so. We're going to take the red Neon Glow and mix it with the blonde. So just 1 to 1. I feel like should be fine. Yep. We just want it to be this like light sort of pinky orange. I'm going to do multiple coats. We want this to be nice and opaque. Opaque, of course, just meaning solid color. I know sometimes I don't do the best job of explaining words that I assume everybody knows. And I am leaving a little bit of that contrast there from the bottom side. Now, of course, I didn't zenithal this one either, just because there's so much metal. Not necessarily concerned with getting any highlights or anything like that, because we'll just put it in after the wash. Anytime I have a miniature that's just a ton of metal, as kind of I explained with the last episode, I don't really care about zenithal. Unless I'm trying to, I guess, glaze on top. If I'm doing non-metallic metal, obviously, too, that makes a huge difference. Okay. Go back. Throw a little mixed color here. For the cloth, just make sure we've got nice coverage. A little bit on the bottom of that. That's okay. Be able to hide that in a minute. And then right up under here too is also part of the cloth, but I'm just only gonna just gonna paint a little blip of it so that it exists if you're looking at it from the right angle, but it'll get washed down anyway. All the other objects are looking good. So I'm gonna go ahead and get the flesh wash right here. I like being overly dramatic with the vortex. Get the flesh wash. Now then, I will apply the... You know what? Actually, we'll just... How can we pull that? No. All right, so what we'll do... did I do it too soon? I feel like I put that out there too quickly. All right, well, I'm going to do it on the hair. Have to be careful because it is still wet right there in between. It's okay. Flesh wash on the hair, but that's it. As far as that business is going. Not on the actual skin. The flesh. It is washed. And then just kind of hanging out. You know what? We can also put it on this little owl guy right here. We'll just tint that down a little bit differently. You know, let's go ahead and just put it on here too. You know, who cares? We'll just put it on all of our little gold sections. You know what? We'll just add a little bit more color. Keep things simple. Okay. Just gonna let that dry. I'll play you a tune. Okay, we're done with that. Or are we? I sent a video of myself playing this to Justin a while back, and he was like, what is happening? Okay. All I'm waiting for here is the, you can see it's still a little bit wet in between the folds there on the cloak. So we're just kind of hanging. While we're doing that, actually, I'm going to go back with the Noir Blackwash here, and I'm going to do another application on the bottom half of the shield, like this. Look at that. Wow. In a world where a shield's a bit darker on the bottom half. You know what? Mad Lad's over here. We're going to do another one. Absolute glizzy grillers, okay? Boom. Now it'll be nice and dark. I'm going to do another wash here on the back side of the shirt. Or sorry, whatever, the inside of the back. Cool. Alright, that's relatively dry enough, so I'm going to take our wash. Still wet on the inside there, but I think I gracefully sort of applied it in. Going for the back. Cool beans. And now I'm going to take our intense brown here and we'll just put it on the flesh just to tone this out separately than everything else we've done. Alright, we're going to wait. And then guess what? We're pretty much done, right? Because we're just going to be doing highlights. So I'll play you a little tune that, you know, I learned growing up, that one of my favorites. One of my faves. It's a classic. Alright, here we go. You ready? Hold on. I'm not very good at that. Can you guys figure it out? Who's named it in the chat already? I'm not very good. What about this one? I don't know. We'll try. I am available for weddings, though, if you guys are interested. I'm available for weddings. I'll play your wedding. It's fine. I'll also paint a portrait. I'm a live wedding painter. Oh, who is this? When a Kickstarter creator sends you a message. Okay, that's cool. So looks like so the creator of this Kickstarter was like, "Hey, I just checked, and okay." He was like, I didn't see an order at all with your name. So... Not good? Is that... It also won't let me log in? Oh, here you go. Here we go. Wow, that's cool. So I guess I'm not gonna get a copy of this Kickstarter. I love it when these things happen live. Luckily, we're waiting on something to chill. Okay, I'm gonna message him. Okay. Well, I hope I get it, because I'm kind of bummed. The only reason I got that Kickstarter was to paint the minis, because they're huge. Okay. Wash is looking pretty much dry. So, now what we're going to do, same thing that we did last time. We're going to be taking our aged Pugh here, and we're going to just sort of gently highlight things up a little bit more before we go back with the honed steel. So we'll go ahead and get started on that. Not too difficult with all of this armor. Relatively simple structure. Now, I always sort of wondered too, right? Like, you've got this big, gigantic plate of armor. Wouldn't that kind of get, like, crazy if you're trying to, like, run? I don't know. I just feel like this isn't an Eames-designed piece of armor, right? Like, it's not very ergonomic. But I guess when it comes to destroying undead baddies, this is good enough. Orbs of Destruction here. This nice little cool graded collar. Same effect here. I'm just sort of overbrushing. Okay. And I'm doing the bottom edge here, so that way we've got a little bit more dimension there on the shield. Doing the side edge. And then down the middle, I'm just sort of tapering it in. Nothing too crazy. I do want it to be highlighted out a little bit more, so I'm going to thin out the aged pewter. Pushing it towards this top part. I want it to be darker towards the bottom, but not a lot, right? Not like what we glazed down. And then just right down the middle. Like so. Just like that. Not perfectly straight. I'll fix it. Good enough for me. All right. Okay, cool with that. So I'm going to grab our honed steel. Where you at, honed steel? Right here? Right here. Now, if you don't have the core colors, Right, you can do any sort of brighter silver you want. It's not really going to make a huge difference. Oop. I should close the flash. That's what I keep hitting. Okay, so now I'm taking the honed steel. I'm just going to be doing edges. That sort of thing. I'm tapering this out a little bit further towards the middle just because it's a larger area. I do want it to be nice and bright. Shading down the middle portion of that section of the armor. Top of the Orb of Destruction. Or I guess since she's like a cleric, they're the Orbs of Purity? I don't know. So you guys figure that one out in the chat. How do we rebrand boob armor for a cleric? I don't know. Do the top of this belt buckle here. Do a little bit of an outline action here on our dagger. And right up at the top of the shoulder, close as you can to the neckline. Do the edges here on the shoulder. Then, so since we have a nice little cylindrical bracer here, I'm going to do a line going down the bottom edge, like this. Sort of like that front-facing edge. And then down the middle, or I guess the top side, right? And then we'll do the edge. That just helps with our contrast. Like so, you can see, nice little shade there. I had a little loose hair at the end there. Bit off. And highlight up the edge. I'm going to do a little bit more of this bottom corner, just because it's going to catch more light. Top side. Top of the shield to you, Andre. Do this inverted section. Just like that. Back of the shield. Make sure I got the top edge. Do the side. Traipsing down, and then I want to do just the bottom parts here. Then this hand, we're going to do right across this nice top curve, or wrist, whatever, bracer. Then down the bottom edge, this edge, and then same idea, this curve right here will highlight up. So that way we build in a bit more of the shape. And then on this part, we'll just do the very top and outline it like so. Same idea on the opposite side. So do a nice line here towards the middle bottom. Edges. And then the top of that. All right, so we've got our silver metallics nice and crisp. Begin highlighting everything else. Clean out this brush. So where should we begin? Let's do the cloth. So I'm going to take some of the blonde here into the base coat. This will be sort of our first hot. Wow, Josh, dude, what am I even trying to attempt with that? What am I even trying to attempt? Alright, so we'll go ahead and begin our highlighting process here. So this first little section, highlighting up, and then moving into the other ones next to it. Really only focusing on the bottom side there. Right here we have a nice curve, so I'm going to go ahead and forcibly put it in, like so. Starting from the top down. Let's see. Up to the knee, above the knee, like so. Rotating to the back. Back not as dynamic, sadly, just because it's sort of your more standard fold structure. So we're just structuring it out, going into the inside portion of that fold because it would catch light. And then I'm going to go ahead and highlight the bottom because that seems to be the highlight structure I'm going for here. keep things nice and bright. And then here, I'm only going to go about halfway up. So. And that's only because this section is literally blocking the way. Alright, I'm just going to double check my coverage up here. Looking good. I'll highlight up this tiny little edge right there. Cool beans, man. Cool beans. Alright, so now I'm going to get our white here. I don't want... Let me see. Yeah, that's fine. And I'm just going to mix this in with the same color we already had on the palette. It doesn't really matter if we're shifting away from that blonde color. I just need it to be sort of white and light. And we'll start building it in. Edge. Like so. Cool. Add a little bit more. I would prefer if it was a little bit brighter. And then paying attention to sort of the top points of our folds here at the bottom to help bring them out more. And then I'm flicking the brush up to where I want that gradient to dry, right there at the top of the thigh, and then we're going to come down. Right about like that, and then start anew. I don't want to bridge that line. I want to keep them separated so that it shows that there's like a knee right here. Just like that. I'll do a little bit underneath this fold, just a tiny little bit. And then down this back edge slightly. Like that. I feel like that's a little bit more dynamic. Back here. Just following our previous structure, starting at about 50% in terms of length. So that way visually everything makes a little bit more sense. Now then in this instance, since it goes all the way to the top, I leave it darker in the center. So you can see I didn't bridge that highlight all the way down. Okay. So edge right here. Cool. Okay, so now then we have the hair, highlights, and the browns. So I do have the brown out on the palette still. So I'm going to take the intense brown and actually mix in our neon red. I'm going to do like two tipfuls here of the neon red. And we'll go ahead and do our edges and our outlines. On our leather goods. Just to bring them back out into the world. And I'll probably end up doing 2 passes just to make them bright. Okay, I'm going to add more. And this will be just edges. It's just the center here. Okay. Pleased. Let's see. Yeah, we went much, much brighter. So what we'll do with the mid-tone color that highlight color we just applied, I'm going to mix it back down a little bit and very thinly glaze it over some of these transitions because the original version was so much brighter. So you can see what I'm doing here. I just want to bring it up before we do the skin. So I'm just pulling it towards our brightest colors up from the shadows, and that will help tone up everything. There we go. Much brighter. See me do it here. Just glazing it. Should dry relatively quickly for you as well whenever you're doing it. Do it again. There we go. Okay. A little bit closer. There we go. Because the face is going to have to be so much drastically brighter. So I'm going to mix in with the intense brown our blonde and begin highlighting the face. The only difference with the face here, right, is that we did brown instead of the flesh wash. So doing the forehead, the nose, the lips here, the tear duct down to the side of the mouth on the right, opposite side of the eye, and then a little bit of the sweeping cheek. Tear duct down the side of the mouth, rounding out the cheek, and then doing a little bit of the side of the jaw. And then we'll highlight that up further. So I'm going to add more white to the color. Tip of the nose, tear duct, and down the side of the mouth. And I feel like I want to tone that back down with the wash, so I'll probably do that. And then we'll just highlight up the hands. Let's see, we'll go darker here actually. There we go. Then back with the lighter color, just on the knuckles. And right at the top of the wrist where it meets the armor. And then I'm going to go ahead and do knuckle in the thumb, knuckles on the top of the hand, into the fingers there, just highlighting it up. Okay. Now then, we will go ahead and get new antique gold out to highlight out our gold. Wherever I put it. Where did I put it? Right here, of course. And I'll begin highlighting up all of these other objects. So little incense burner here. The mace. And then the lantern. Really all I'm worried about on the lantern are these parts that kind of come down, right, on that structure there. And then the side, bottom, a little bit of the handle. We may have to repaint these parts that kind of come down the side, but we'll go ahead and do them now anyway. Okay, so what I did on these is I got, let's see, let me look at the original. So I did pale, okay. So we need pale lichen. And the pale lichen is just going to go in each frame completely. Like so. And it is a nice color. It's like this sort of otherworldly glow. This would be a great color to do like zombie flesh with or something. That interior one you can't really see at all, so I'm not too worried about it. Then we're going to take white and do 50-50 with the pale lichen. And we're just going to go in the center of the area. Like this. And then pure white down the very, very middle. That way the glow has gradually built up, right, from the original color. Just like that. And it'll look like a nice little glow coming from the lantern. Then lastly, we should do the hair. So what I'll do is I'll take just the blonde. Do I have pure blonde? Yes, I do, right here. And I'm just going to focus on the tops of these strands. I don't want to highlight too much because I want to retain this sort of like strawberry red hair we've got going on. And then the tops of the buns. I will do a straight line right here. Across the top. And down. Now I think her hair actually goes like down and back on this side, but that's okay. It's obscured by the cast. And then I'm going to take the white, mixing it in with our blonde color 50-50. And I'm doing just the brightest points here at the very top by her part. So, and then down here at this curve in the front, very end of the curve right here, just to draw some attention to it. And then the very top of the bun, very top of the bun. Now then, I did say I wanted to go back into the face to shade it down, so we're going to do that really quick. And we can use a little bit of the Flesh Wash mixed with our intense brown. That really won't make too much of a difference in terms of tone. Now that we have the rest of the miniature painted, I just didn't want it all smudged together. Here we go, so that's a nice deep brown. And then I'm just going to grab it like a glaze consistency, so I just want it on the tip of the brush. Actually, there's dried white paint at the tip of the brush. It's very dry in here today. And so I'm just going to sculpt that back into the shadows in the face. Increase the warmth there. Same thing on this side. And I'll push it up against where the armor meets the hand there. I'm actually going to add a little bit of Noir Black, just to really enforce a shadow. There we go. That's what we're missing. Just a little bit more depth. There we go. Nice. So, now then, we'll do one final trick. For my last trick, no, that didn't work at all, so give me a second. Still terrible. Okay. This phthalo green needs like an hour of shaking. Go ahead and dump out all of its guts here, because that's not going to work. Okay. There we go. That's actual color. Thinner. Boom. Some water here. Mix, 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 mix. And then where's the little cap right here? I'm going to turn my PSI down quite a lot. Alright, so now we're going to make it glow. So I'm going to gently apply the phthalo here, up and surrounding all the objects, right, that are going to be affected by the lantern. Then I'm going to do the bottom and top of the lantern only, like that, to make the glow more apparent. Now then you can do the same thing, just glazing with your brush. There's no real, like, intense secret to this, other than you just need good contrast. Bottom of the arm. Let's see, we'll do the... I'm doing this back shield here. There we go. Do more on the bottom. looking glowy. I'll go ahead and clear this out. Where's my water?
Where's my water?
Spray that out. Cleaner. Dump bucket. You gotta do the whole procedure here. Turn that on. And then I'm gonna go back a little bit more of the white. Right in the middle of the party. Right here. Just to bring back that ultra glow. And there you are. So, I hope you guys enjoyed. Remember, next week we're going to be rocking and rolling on the ReaperCon, Sophie. So, definitely looking forward to that. The time is the same as it always is on the Miniature Monday stuff. So, we'll be working on that at 3 p.m. CST. And then remember, my ReaperCon event that I will be doing is going to be on Saturday at 1 to 5 CST. May go a little bit longer than that, but remember, you can find it anywhere you can find me, right? So it'll be on Facebook, YouTube, and Twitch, and you'll be able to watch that later if you want, and you'll be able to follow along at your own pace if you're following similar techniques, etc., etc. But it'll just be display level painting, utilizing an airbrush, and all the good stuff that I do typically all the time. So I appreciate you. I will leave you with a tune, and I'm sure Justin is going to try and run and raid somebody as fast as possible. Oop, that's not what I'm looking for. I'm looking for that. There we go. So, thanks so much again, guys. I appreciate you. And I will see you on the last day of ReaperCon. Bye.